Hi, my name's Steve Ray from Makita UK and I'm here with UK Planet Tools to bring you the new products we launched in January. We're going to be looking at the Mains LS0816F Mitre saw, the Makita 210Q compressor. On the 18 volt we're going to look at the DCV602 Wheelbarrow, the DUC150 Pruning saw and the DUP180 Pruning Shears. On the 40 volt platform we're going to look at the HW001G pressure washer, the CF003G Fan, the JV002D handle Jigsaw, as well as the HR010G compact SDS. So let's get into it and have a closer look at the products. So this is the LS0816F Mitre saw from Makita. It is on the 110 or 240 volt platform, so depending on what power preference you want, there is two available there. The machine itself has a 216mm diameter blade on the front of the machine, and to access that we do have a nice Allen key positioned at the back of the machine which will allow us to take that blade on and off if we so wish. The actual cut itself in an upright position on a straight cut will give you 65mm depth of cut, and that will go across the 305mm bed. So 65 by 305 in your max cutting capacity. The mitre saw itself bevels over, so if we lift this handle up, it allows us to go 47 to the left and 47 degrees over to the right by squeezing the handle. We can screw that in nice and tight to lock it into different positions if we want, but it does also have presets along the bottom of the machine. And then if we want to bevel the top of the machine over, there's a little handle at the back here which we loosen off, which will allow us then to bevel the machine over to 47 degrees to the left, but only 2 degrees onto the right hand side. So it mainly does bevel over to the left hand side. We can tighten that up now we're back in the upright position. Also at the back of the machine, we do have a nice cable storage area. So when you're packing it away, you can wrap it around that, keep it nice and tidy. The sub fence on the back of the machine, the one on the right hand side, because it doesn't bevel over to the right, is a solid sub fence. The one on the left, to take that fence out the way, we can just unscrew that at the back and slide that out the way. Slide it back in position when we're done and then lock it off with the nut at the back. On the actual base plate itself as well, we can extend the arms on there. So on the left and right, it gives us a bit more sturdiness on the materials when we're cutting as well. Slot that back in there and we can lock that off. And then on the machine as well, when we're packing it down for transportation, we can push the head down, lock that side button in so it stays in that position, which then gives us a nice large handle on the top for carrying it. Unpop that again. On the other side, we have a depth stop. So with this, we can just lock that pin in and out and then adjust that there. So if you are doing trenching on this machine, you can do that. And if we don't want to use that, we can just knock it off by pushing it in, and that will allow the bolt to pass through. Because it is a slide saw as well, we do have a nut on the back there, so if we loosen that up, that will allow us to move the saw forward and backwards, and then when it's in the desired position, or if we don't want to use the slide function, we can just tighten that up on the back there as well. In the box you do get this dust bag that comes as standard, but if you do wish to use a dust extraction from a vacuum cleaner or an extractor, you can take that off and insert your pipe in the back there. On the top of the machine, we've got our 2-button start, so the trigger's in the lock position to start with. We put our thumb on the top button and we can now engage the trigger to start the machine up. There is an LED light on the machine as well, which can be turned on and off by the button on the side. And what that will do is give you a shadow line through the blade, so for accuracy in your cuts, you see exactly where that blade is going to be cutting. So that is the LS0816F in 110 volt and 240 volt. From Makita. So the Makita 210Q from Makita has a 7.6 litre tank on the front, and what that will allow the machine to do is deliver 48 litres a minute of airflow. In the design, it is designed to be nice and quiet and easy on the ears, so this machine only runs at 60 decibels of sound pressure. Then if we turn it to the side, as you can see there, we've got a nice storage place for our cable, so whether it's 110 or 240. And with the roll cage design of the compressor, what that does is keep the motor and the pumps all nice and secure inside. So if they do take a bang from the side, or it does get knocked or fall over, it is protected with the roll cage design to keep everything that's important safe. The machine itself is nice and easy to use. It only has one outlet, So on the left-hand side, you have your tank pressure. So that just tells you what the tank pressure is up to. Then we have our adjuster to give us, depending on what PSI or bar we require, we can use that adjuster to turn it up and down. That then adjusts the gauge on the right-hand side, which is what it will deliver to the outlet. Lastly on the machine, when we have finished for the day and we're packing away, there's a drain off valve at the bottom, which we can just let out and let all the excess air that's compressed in there out, so it keeps the tank nice and safe so that you can put it away and it's not going to cause any issues. So that was the Mac 210Q from Makita, available in 110 or 240. So this is the DCU 602 18 volt LXT wheelbarrow from Makita. So as you can see, it is an LXT machine, so it will take 4 18 volt LXT batteries in the 4 different compartments, but it will only run off 2 at a time. There is a dead man switch here, so we can put it in the off position so no one else can use it when we're not using it. Then we can just click it back onto the on position when we're ready. That will then lock down and create a seal over the batteries so they're nice and protected. On the top of the unit, we have our battery indicator for both sets of batteries. We have our LED light on off switch, and then we've got our selector. So depending on what bank of batteries we want to use, we can use the selector on the top. We then have a little spirit level bubble on the top as well, just to give you an idea of what sort of level the ground is on that you're working with. And then to the right hand side, we have our up and down switch on there for when we're using the automatic bucket tipping function, we can use that. On the left hand handlebar, we've got our lockable brake, which is disc brakes as well. So that is there in the park mode. And to release that, we can just push the top one, and that will allow us to engage the motor now and use the machine. So when in park, we can just lock that one off. On the right hand side, we have our horn button. So to let anyone know we're coming, we can push that button to make people aware. We have our power on and off button on the machine. Now bear in mind, you can only turn this machine on and off if the disc brakes are in the park position. We then have our forward and reverse mode selector and our 3 speed selectors on the machine as well. We then have our accelerator trigger on the bottom, so when we do want the wheelbarrow to move, we can push that to start the motion. So on them 3 speeds, it goes from 1.5 kilometers an hour up to a maximum of 5 kilometers an hour. And then we've got up to 1 kilometer an hour in reverse. Also, when we do put it in the reverse mode, the beep will automatically sound, so we know we're in reverse. On the side handles as well, they are fully adjustable and they're easy to do without tools. So there is 2 nuts on the side there. If we just loosen them, we can then raise or lower the arms to our specific height that we require. And on the back here as well, you can see there's 2 blue knobs. Now they are for the wobble control on the front of the machine. So if you unlock them, it will allow the machine to tilt as it's going over rough ground, always keeping the powered wheels on the deck so that it can always deliver power. If we're staying on a flat piece of land, for instance, we can lock them off so that it is just solid and in the upright position. So the capacities of the bucket of the machine are 300 kilograms of weight, or 200 litres of heaped material, or 100 litres of liquid material. The bucket itself will go 75 degrees on the automatic tilt, but if you wanted to do it manually, you can override that manually and go over to 110 degrees on the lift. With 4 6 amp hour batteries in the machine, it will give us a runtime of up to 100 minutes of runtime. Also on the machine, just round the front, we do have our engagement for the motors. So with this red lever on the side here, that will disengage the motor from the wheels and allow us to free roam with the wheelbarrow. So if you don't want the powered motion, you can disengage it. To lock that back into the powered option, we can just slide that back over, clip that in, and now it will run off the forward and reverse. So that was the DCU 602 18 volt LXT wheelbarrow from Makita UK, available on the UK Planet Tools website now. So the DUC 150 is a small, lightweight pruning saw to be used in garden or orchard trees. The machine itself has 150mm length of blade with an automatic chain tensioner, and it also has an automatic oil receiver as well, so it will oil the chain by itself as well. The mechanism to undo the bar and chain, so if you do need to change it or if you need to sharpen the blade, is a quick release, so we can just lift that handle up there, rotate that. That will allow us to take the side cover off, remove the blade, change it or sharpen it and put it back on the machine. The machine has a guard on the top which will open up as you're passing through the branch, to eliminate you from putting your hand on the top of the blade itself when in motion. And the trigger has a trigger lock which is accessible on both sides, which you need to down press to be able to pull the trigger. The 18-volt battery sits on the back of the machine, nice and compact, and with the battery on the machine it only comes in at 2 kilograms in weight, so very light and easy and efficient for you to use. The machine delivers 320 watts of power and has a chain speed of 8 meters a second on the chain. The oil reservoir on the side has got a quick release button, so we can push that down, which allows us to rotate and remove. And with that removed, we can put 55 millilitres of oil in the chamber, which, as I said, automatically feeds to the chain when in use. The machine itself is nice and light and easy to handle, and with that in mind, the vibration on this is only 4.8 meters a second, so very comfortable for the user to use. It has a nice hand guard on the bottom there, so that if the chain does snap and wrap round, it won't hurt your fingers. And then on the back, we have a nice handle there with a soft grip that we can place our backhand to keep the saw nice and steady. So that is the DUC 150 18-volt pruning saw from Makita, available now on the UK Planet Tools website. So let's take a look at the DUP 180 18-volt pruning shears from Makita. As you can see, nice, lightweight, compact. What we've done with these ones is we put the battery on this umbilical cord so that you can put them onto your belt clip, which keeps them nice and lightweight in the hands, so it gives you less fatigue when using them. They are ideally used for cutting vines, used in vineyards, trimming back trees, pruning. The blades themselves will open and close and do exactly as your finger is doing, just with the touch of your finger on the trigger. They open and close up to a maximum of 30 millimeters. They are fully adjustable though. There is some stage settings that will allow you to keep that nice and close. So if it is very small vines that you're trimming, the machine doesn't have to travel as far forward and back. Saying that, the jaws themselves will open to full capacity within 0.3 seconds. So they are very quick and very capable of moving up and down quickly with the speed that you're cutting your vines. To use the machine, we can undo the umbilical cord if we need to. So if we are storing it away, we can adjust that. Or if we want to do some repairs on the machine, then we have a nice simple on-off button at the bottom, which will illuminate on the top of the machine the green light to tell you that the machine is ready to go. It also has a battery indicator there as well. So that is the DUP 180Z 18-volt pruning shears from Makita UK, available on UK Planet Tools website now. The HW001G pressure washer from Makita is a 40-volt machine. It is nice and compact in design. It has a nice telescopic handle on the top that we can use so if we need to move it around, and that is done by two large wheels on the side which are 140 millimeters in diameter, but that allows it to move across areas nice and smoothly. It does take two batteries, so if I open up the top cover there, you can see that there is a space for us to put two batteries in, but it only needs one to run the actual machine. The extra battery is there for runtime. We've got a large on-off button which is on the front. We then move over to our mode selector, so that has our mode 1, 2 and 3, which illuminates when the batteries are turned on and there's water in the machine. We have our battery indicator, so if you want to check the state of the batteries, we can just push that and that will indicate with what the batteries have left. We then next have our inlet valve, so whether it's going off a mains tap or from a water butt, we just plug our pipe onto the front there. There is a filter on that as well, so it won't let any dirt get into the motor of the machine. And then we obviously have our outlet there, which goes to our lance or gun. The lance itself, as you can see, has brass connectors, so it is nice and sturdy in the connection on there. It comes as standard with a 5 meter hose to go with it, so plenty of reach. We do others available as accessories, which are 8 and 10 metres, so if you do need a longer lead for your lance, they are available. In the box, you do get your delivery hose, so whether you're connecting to your mains or to your water butt, you do have that. If it's going to the mains, you just use this piece on its own. If we're going from a water butt, in the box, you do get your filtered hose with 2 filters on that, and that will connect to your outlet hose, and then you can place that into your water butt and then deliver the water from there. Also in the box, if you're using magic foam, there is a delivery nozzle there that connects onto the wand, which will cover your car in the snow foam. And then you get 2 different choices for what you're doing with the lances. You get the cyclone, which is more for harder materials, so patios, deckings, that type of thing with solid stains in. And then we also get the variable as well, which is adjustable, which is more for using on windows, cars, that type of thing, caravans. At the back of the machine, we have a large storage container to keep all your bits in nice and tidy. And then obviously on the side, as you can see, the lance fits into the little holder that's on the side. When running with 2 5 Ah batteries on full power, will give you 18 minutes of runtime. On half power, it will give you 30 minutes of runtime. And on the lowest setting, it will give you 60 minutes of runtimes. Now, in the full power mode, that will give you 85 bars of pressure and deliver 5.5 litres a minute of water. On setting 2, that will give you 55 bars of pressure and give you 4.2 litres of water. And on the lowest setting, which is setting 3, that will give you 3 litres of water a minute, and that will go at 30 bars of pressure. All them figures that I've just told you are if they are used with the water butt, so self-priming mode. If we plug this into the mains water outlet, that will give us mains water pressure, and that will allow the machine to then go up to 115 bars of pressure, and that will deliver 7 litres a minute of water. So much better specs if you run it off of a mains tap. One thing to bear in mind as well though is it is dependent on the pressure that's coming out of your mains tap. So that is the HW001G from Makita, available on the UK Planet Tools website now. So the CF003G is a 40 volt brushless fan, but it will run off of the 18 volt LXT batteries or off mains power as well. So the fan itself is a massive 450 millimeters in diameter. If after prolonged use it will get dusty inside, you can remove the cover so that you can get inside there and give it a good clean down when needed. The airspeed of the fan that it delivers goes from 96 to 300 meters a minute, and that will do in airflow 38 to 120 square meters a minute. So it's a massive fan with massive power. Now, to control the unit itself, we have a dial on the front, which is the variable dial. So if I switch that on, it clicks on, lights up green, and as I turn the dial round, it will light up and indicate exactly where I am on the fan. And as you can hear, or not hear, it is very quiet. On the front of the fan, we do have some settings as well. So we've got a timer setting, which will allow us to set the machine to run for 1 hour, 2 hours, or 4 hours. And we can also then change the degrees that it oscillates at as well, left and right to 60 degrees. The next setting is 90 degrees left and right, and then the last setting is 120 degrees left and right. We can also position it ourselves by tilting the machine up so it can face high up or down, depending on where you've got the fan situated. So if you've got it high up, elevated, you can point the fan down to blow down on you and oscillate as well. If you've got a 40 volt 8 amp hour battery on the machine, which is our largest battery we do, this will run for 230 minutes in standard mode. And if you've got it in oscillation, that will take it down just 10 minutes and run for 220 minutes. And if you are running it on an 18 volt 6 amp hour battery, that will allow the machine to run for 90 minutes in standard mode. And if you've got the oscillation on, it will run for 85 minutes. At the front, you do have a large area of storage, so any accessories or a couple of spare 18 volt batteries you can put in there. And then with the machine and the way it's designed, this will sit on top of a Mac pack and clip into place so that you can use it to move it around the workshop if it is on the Mac pack trolley. So that is the CF003G from Makita, available now on the UK Planet Tools website. So this is the JV002GZ from Makita. As you can see, it's the D-handled Jigsaw on the 40-volt platform. The machine will cut up to a maximum 135mm into wood. It will do that with a stroke length of 26mm, and then that will give you 3,500 strokes per minute off the motor as well. So very efficient motor on the machine. We've got a variable speed by the trigger, which we can also place in the locked position with the button at the top. Once that's in the locked position, to release that, we just push down on the trigger again to release. We've got variable speed by the dial at the back of the machine. On the top, we've got our digital lock, which is on, off, and it's indicated by the green light on the top. So when the machine isn't being used, it will be in the locked position. Push that button on the top, it will illuminate green, and the light will come on at the bottom to show you that the machine is now active and we can use the trigger. It has a 3-stage orbital selector, which is done by the side there, as well as a quick release front for your blades, which is also spring loaded as well. So if the blade is hot after continued use cutting metal, you can just eject the blade out of harm's way so you don't have to touch it. A dust extraction port, which is added to the side there, but that can be put by unscrewing onto the left or the right. Has an anti-scratch base at the bottom, which can be removed. And it also is able to bevel over to 45 degrees as well, with the Allen key that's placed in the back and the screw that's underneath at the bottom. So that is the JV002GZ 40-volt Jigsaw from Makita UK, available now on the UK Planet Tools website. So the HR010GZ from Makita is very lightweight, compact and very efficient size machine. With that said, it does deliver 5,000 blows per minute and gives you an impact energy of 2.1 joules of energy. It will allow you to go 20mm into masonry, 13mm into steel, and then 26mm into timber. The anti-vibration technology in this means the machine will only deliver 10 meters a second squared in vibration, which is very low for an STS machine. It has AWS Bluetooth dust collection as well, so it can be connected to a Bluetooth vac, as well as being used with the DX16 dust collection box. Variable speed by the trigger. Forward and reverse is controlled by the switch with the lock-off function in the centre. We then have our mode selection, which has rotary only, rotary hammer and hammer only function. It has an AVT front handle, which can be adjusted to the left or the right depending on which position you're working in, and an STS Plus chuck on the front of the machine. So that is the HR010GZ from Makita, available now on UK Planet Tools website. Thank you for watching. They're the new products we launched in January. Hope you feel informed. All the products are now available on the UK Planet Tools website. So we'll catch you next time with some great new products later on in the year.